We want to say shout out to our sponsors, Watchman Cigars, 1812 Barbecue, Blue Collar Cycle Shop, and Hook, Line, and Heroes. Without you, this episode would not be possible. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast, where it's our take on life, liberty, and the pursuit of gravy, while you, the listener, are getting a degree in common sense. We are broadcasting from our blue-collar cycle bunkers right here in beautiful Charlotte area, North Carolina. We've got a great show lined up for you, as always. But before we begin, let me introduce you to our starting lineup. First off, we're going to start off with Now You See Him, Now You Don't. It's Magic Man.
Hey, everybody.
Have you been drinking too much already?
2 sips, too.
You're like,
Just 2
lightweight.
sips.
It's a high gravity beer.
And we've got our producer, Brian.
Hey, guys.
I, of course, be your host, Biggun. And across the way is the pride of Anderson, South Carolina. But most of you probably know him best as the Silver Tongue won 2016's honorable mention N95 Masked Salesman of the Year, the inventor of the redneck egg roll. Give it up on old Mike number 1. It's Mojo!
I am still in the search for toilet paper. I don't know about you guys, but it is, it's, oh man, it's like finding an honest woman at a strip club. You just can't find them at all.
I've reverted to taking the paper and peeling it apart, the double ply, and making single ply of it. So,
well, we're you know, when I told my wife the other day, she pulled the toilet spool off the spindle, and I'm like, "There's enough meat on that bone for another wipe." So you know,
start peeling the cardboard back. There you go.
Anyway, appreciate you guys tuning in to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. Wherever you listen to your podcast, you can find us there at Southern Fried Philosophy. Just go in and hit subscribe. Give us a review, give us a rating. We really appreciate those who actually subscribe. We can see our numbers increasing, which we appreciate because everyone else has nothing to do unless you like to garden in this, what we call in the South, our most favorite time of the year, where we have the yellow powder that's sitting on the everywhere. Pretty much you walk outside and it's like Tony Montana, his wet dream if it was yellow. Coquina. Anyway, appreciate you guys going there and doing that. Also, you can find us on our website at southernfriedphilosophy.com. Also, our Facebook page at Southern Fried Philosophy. Twitter's and Instagram at SFP Radio. Also, when we get back up and started and you'd like to donate to the show, you can also go to our Patreon link at patreon.com/SFP Radio. And actually, I think Magic Man has this up on the YouTubes tonight on youtube.com/SFP Radio. And
no, we're actually, one interesting note that we're going to say is next week we're hoping to show everyone our beautiful faces so that you can see us on the Facebooks live, the YouTubes live, and the Periscopes and all the Twitters and all that.
Periscope?
Yeah,
We're
Vine,
MySpace,
Vine,
TikTok,
Twitch. Yeah, we could do all those things. Now, our show will only be 45 seconds long on Vine, but, you know, whatever. Some people wish that it was only 45 seconds. So there's that. We want to say shout out to our listeners from all across the world. We are now officially coast to coast. So from Carolina to California, we want to say thank you. Thank you for tuning in to Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. Guys, I'm going to ask you like I ask you every week, how y'all be doing? Producer Brian, start us off.
Yeah, I'm still alive after the produce bag incident last week.
Now, you got in trouble for that, didn't you?
A little bit. And it's funny as Uncle Leon reached out to me Monday morning, checking in on me, make sure I was still breathing. Yeah. But yeah, I was, it's in passing, mentioned to my wife the situation with the produce bags. And she was like, "You did what? Like when? When was this?" Like, you know, at this point, it was like 4 days prior to the conversation. But she gave me some good advice, which kind of blew my mind. Okay. You know, this is right up there when you told me to tear the sandwich apart and dip it in the sauce. So that kind of moment, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
She's, you know, if your hands are too dry, just walk over to like the parsley and just like, it's always wet, and touch everyone else's food. before, and use the do that on the bag instead of
just why don't you just go dip your hands in the watercress or microgreens. Nobody eats that crap anyway. So,
right? Yeah. What was it? Brussels sprouts was left on the shelf.
I got you. I love that, but yeah, microgreens, kale. Yeah, kale. Who likes those people eat kale? So.
Oh yeah, kale. I'm going to touch the kale. That's it right there because that stuff's garbage. Don't eat kale's gross.
Well, let's not forget also that, like, at the grocery store they get the sound of thunder coming, and you're like, oh no, here it comes, and then the little sprinkler comes on, and it's acting like it's raining, so you can get your hands under there as well.
Yeah. And
then, do your thing.
I always think of the Garth Brooks song, The Thunder Rolls, when I hear that thunder sound in the produce section.
Right. Well, who doesn't? That's a normal thing, right?
I just to make sure I wasn't weird.
Yeah, sure. Producer Brian, I saw a picture also I want to point out of you with a Watchman cigar, some bourbon, and a tablet of Tiger King on.
But full disclosure, it wasn't a Watchman cigar.
Okay.
It was the last of my, it was the Kentucky, I forget what it's called.
Oh, yeah.
It's the one that smells like a barbecue.
The Kentucky Cure or
something like that, yeah. It's a pretty good cigar. It's not a Watchman, believe me, but it was the oldest one in my humidifier, so I took it out. But yeah, it was Monday night. I finished Tiger King on the back porch with a little bit of bourbon and a cigar. Yeah.
How was that? Well, did you finish it
I feel like I could have stopped after the first 3 episodes after watching the last 4. So it's to me, it stopped being interesting when they stopped, when they stopped being ridiculous and everyone started getting mean. So,
well, I hear like IDTV or some other network is going to do the Carol Baskin story, so it'll be kind of like the same thing. Just it'll be focused on her instead of Joe Exotic. So that should be interesting. Yeah. I mean, that lady. Mojo, how you be doing?
Listen, all you cool cats and kittens. I'm doing all right. Another day of partial quarantine lockdown for me. I get to leave the house for 12 hours a day and come back for 12 hours.
Lucky.
Right, honey? And she's looking at me right now, flipping me off. So, I get to go to work, so that's a good time. And actually, I did have a Watchman cigar today and at the shop testing out because we're going to partner up with Leon and hopefully do our own blue collar blend here soon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that'll be kind of cool, upper game a little bit. But yeah, we're busy. Actually, believe it or not, busy. We're considered essential right now, and there's a lot of people out there, first responders. Yeah, by the way, let me take a second just to
do it.
Show gratitude for our first responders, our nurses, and probably also very underappreciated is our truck drivers out there. I mean, that's something I noticed because I still travel. I got to go to Cincinnati Sunday, and it's one thing I noticed in the mornings when I'm heading to work around between 7 and 8 is just the rest areas are just packed. Not even the rest areas, but the off ramps and on ramps are just packed with truckers trying to sleep. Just, man, these guys and gals are out there just working overtime to get supplies to us, so we can act like idiots and go try to buy up all the damn toilet paper when it hits the shelf and hoard it, which I still haven't figured out.
Somebody's backing up right in there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know, right? But well, my wife decided to bake cookies. Normally, I'm the one who makes all the noise when we're in studio, but now my wife is in charge of that tonight, so I've passed the torch.
Let's not lie. It's a truck backing up that's full of toilet paper. You son of a gun.
Well, there was a deal on eBay that I did pick up.
We're gonna talk about
that just think about I have the luxury. I get to go in, seclude myself in my shop, and work and tinker and handle phone calls and internet. But first responders, these guys and gals are on the front lines, and that's just, pretty unbelievable what they do every day. Just shows you. I've always appreciated healthcare workers, but man, it's amazing what they're having to do. Maybe we'll dive into it a little bit later, but I have a lot of customers that are truck drivers right now. They can't even get off the road right now. They're working 7 days a week. A lot of cases trying to keep supplies. So hats off to those guys. Whoever listens, I know a lot of truckers listen to podcasts, and so if you're a trucker out there, we'd love to hear from you, and we do appreciate you guys.
Yeah, I mean that's a shameless plug of, hey, if you're a truck driver, we'd love to hear your story. We'd love to hear what's going on in your world. Shoot us an email, not while you're driving. That would be horrible. But shoot us an email at sfpradio@gmail.com, and we'd love to have you on the show. Maybe we get some time and hear you barreling down the highway, letting her eat, and talking to us. That'd be great. I have to tell you guys, you mentioned, buying in bulk. Guys, I scoured the internet. You know how I get. I mean, let's be honest. I can take things to a whole nother level. And they started talking about these N95 masks. And now I'm like, oh no, I got to find the masks. So I scour the interwebs trying to find these N95 masks. There's a website that says, hey, we're available. We've got some for sale. Now, mind you, they're a little bit pricey, but we're just going to let you know that they're available there for sale. So Biggun hops on it and says, here we go. I bought 20 N95 masks and like 20 of the blue surgical masks, the ones that I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. They're not the N95, but they're the blue ones, medical grade. Y'all, I put in my credit card information, and I ended up paying $143 for these masks. $143.
You could have asked. I actually have some N95 masks and surgical masks here at the house. I could have given you guys for free. Well, hopefully, all I know is hopefully this isn't the same manufacturer who manufactures the Ninja pillow.
Gentlemen, let me also continue with my story of the fact that it pulls up and it says, oh, you can track your shipment on the Arrive app, which is the same shipment that the Ninja pillow's coming in on. Like, you son of a biscuit. But I look on there, and it says it's in New York. It's got a New York address. I'm like, okay, we're a little bit closer. And then I do some more investigating, and it's a post office box. I'm like, oh, Lord. And I start freaking out. I call them. We're available from the hours of 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Wait, what? Who's open from 5 to 10 p.m.? Oh, no. So everything is indicating sketch. So I'm not our friend Sketch, but this whole thing is sketchy. So I have to call USAA and be like, I need you to put a stop payment on this thing. I emailed them. I called them. I didn't get a response. And then 4 days later, finally I get a response of, yes, this is a legit company. We've been backed up and we've canceled your order. I'm like, oh, son of a gun. Now I don't have my mask coming. But at the end of the day, it was $143 for my masks. So I'm kind of glad I pulled the plug on that.
Plus the chargeback fee.
There's no chargeback. I said I'm disputing this with USAA.
I have to wonder that evidently China got or had a bunch of those masks donated by Italy, and then they went and tried to sell them back to Italy. I wonder if some of those masks you bought were the ones that were given to them by Italy.
It could have been. But luckily, my dad found in his painting supplies 2 extra masks. So there we go. We're saved. Did I over panic in $143 for about 20 masks or 40 masks? Just a bit.
Well, I equate this to our Bitcoin purchase where we had the fear of missing out. So, I think that might have panned out the same thing.
Yeah, I think so too.
Maybe people are making masks out of toilet paper. Maybe that's the reason why I have a rash. People just rushing to the stores for toilet paper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other part that I wanted to follow up on is our healthy SFP, at least for my sake.
By the way, if you go to doesbigandhave.com, it has just been updated.
Diabetes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Do I have masks? Absolutely not. Producer Brian, you've been trucking along with the keto diet. You're doing awesome. I decided that if Corona's going to take me out, by God, I'm still going to have my biscuits and gravy. So my wife made some biscuit and gravy. Producer Brian, I sent you a picture of it.
It looks great.
The gravy,
It looks great. It looks great.
Well, yeah. We'll just say it looked great. It tasted wonderful, by the way. But if you come over to my house at some point and you see that the mortar on the around the brick smells like sausage, that probably could be it, because we reused it to fill in the gaps of our brick. But I will say, and I'm a proud. Why is the squirrel licking the bricks? I don't know. I will say that I am a proud parent when Small Batches, which is my foster daughter, her first bite of real adult food was the gravy. So I'm very proud of that. Thank
you. You're a good father.
In true Southern form, I was like, well, you're going to try some gravy, and it's going to be today. So she seemed to enjoy it. We got pictures of it. She's enjoying the gravy. Then we got the picture of my wife slapping my hand saying, don't do that. She doesn't need to eat that now. I said, as a matter of fact, she does. So, yeah, that was a good time.
It's kind of like First Communion in the Catholic Church, right?
Yeah, sure. It sure was. She had that.
Maybe she'll be baptized in gravy.
Oh, no, that's an idea. It won't be my wife's gravy. I know that. She'll be floating on top of that. But anyway, also we want to say. Go ahead.
I have a question. How about are you putting Bartle Skeet in her bottle yet? And for those that don't know what Bartle Skeet is, it's Mountain Dew.
It's what now? What?
Bartle Skeet.
Okay,
BARTLESKEET. Bartle Skeet. That's Mountain Dew.
No, we're just going straight to
Never heard of that.
Bartle Skeet.
Hey.
Bartle Skeet.
I'm just kidding.
I swear you make
For
up
all
words
you DSS workers that are listening to this, I was just joking. We are not putting bourbon. We are not putting bourbon in her bottle.
Biggun is a good dad. I can attest.
Well, also I want to say shout out to Kevin Stroud. Gave us a shout out as well on his History of English podcast. We had him on last week. Thank you so much, Kevin. If you're listening, appreciate that. So, again, it was awesome to have you on. Appreciate it.
That was a fun interview, by the way. One thing I wanted to
talk about was, have you guys seen? Yeah, it really was.
I enjoyed it.
It was great.
From a guy that doesn't understand still what a pronoun is, it was a little hard to follow, I'll be honest with you. Because I failed, English 101. But overall, I thought it was interesting to hear the different takes of where those words come from. And I keep, we talked about it, that we're royalty, evidently, if we come from the South, that because we come from the Welsh and English kings, our dialect.
What up, King?
What up, King?
If you're in the market for a high-quality cigar for a very reasonable price, you must check out our friends at Watchman Cigars. Watchman Cigars is a family-owned business that puts the customer first with the best customer service in the business. Watchman Cigars offers the Habano for a full, spicy flavor, the Connecticut for a mild, easy-to-smoke option, and the Maduro for a strong, powerful experience. They even do specialty blends and partner with you to provide a custom, exclusive line just for you. Watchman Cigars has all your cigar needs. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Watchman Cigars 1991, or check out his new website at watchmancigars.com or the sponsor section of our website.
Have you guys seen these videos of the churches getting into the COVID game? Have you guys seen these videos?
I've seen them.
I have not.
Producer Brian, I think you've got some clips of.
Yeah, I have a little audio here for you. So there's a couple of black churches who aren't. Well, they're not giving up. Let's put it that way. That doesn't stop. It just that keeps going.
It's 47 minutes long, by the way.
I'm kind of digging their sound compared to. Have you seen the clips of Kenneth Copeland?
Oh, I think we've got Kenneth coming up.
Oh boy, really? Okay. Yeah, that's. I'm digging the Corona songs. That's the thing about black churches, man. They can ad lib any song. It's crazy.
No matter what the doctor said, Dr. Jesus says difference. Come on, I say Corona be gonna. Corona be gonna. Corona be gonna. Corona be gonna. I'm looking at all these reports all over the world. You can't find no Purell. Can't get no sanitizer.
No sanitizer.
Find no TP. Oh, Lord, help me. Can't get no TP. Hey, don't want to be around nobody. Don't you sneeze. I'm looking.
And I love the backup singers. They're like, oh, we're just going with it. We're just going to keep going.
I think I've heard that bassist. I think he actually performed a couple soundtracks on 1980s soft porn. So,
oh yeah.
See, Corona be gonna.
And producer Brian, do you have Kenneth Copeland? Did you have that one?
I don't have Kenneth Copeland. What was that?
Oh,
I can get it. Hold on. I mean,
yeah, I sent it to you earlier.
Oh, did you? Oh, is this the Wind of God?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah,
just anyone who doesn't know Kenneth Copeland, he is a mega televangelist, charlatan, snake oil salesman who wears a robe, basically charging people for Jesus.
Not charlatan.
Yeah. So, but he's basically just trying to please. He's well known for fleecing people out of their cash in the name of Jesus. So
sure.
Anyway, I just wanted to preface that.
By the way, if you look at his video, and we'll have it on the show notes, but his eyes are so incredibly small. They're like
and
little
creepy
blue, like dime-sized things on his face. It's weird. So, producer Brian, do you have that one ready to go?
COVID-19. I blow the wind of God. The wind of God on you. You are destroyed forever.
There's 4 more minutes, so. Good grief.
I think that little clip right there sums it up with him. So
I'm glad to get a soundbite out of that one. So.
Yeah, let's just make sure that when we say the soundbite will say "I blow," and we just take it right there.
We have some options there, I guess.
Yeah, we do. All right, so let's go into some wacky news brought to you by 1812 Barbecue. Listen, I saw the pictures, and Eric is still cranking out some fantastic meat. So if you need some quality barbecue, and you need some now because there's hardly any meat left, go check out our friends at 1812 Barbecue. He can hook you up and get some delicious meat right on your plate. Ready.
You know what I really need is some of that barbecue in my mailbox, like Uncle Leon drops his cigars off. Just rolls by the house, throws some cigars in the mailbox. I need old Mr. Line.
Well, hold on. Let's back up to that because I know Uncle Leon will be listening. Yeah. I had to meet Uncle Leon at the entrance of a park, like I was trying to get a dime bag or something.
Oh.
Well,
I need to talk to Uncle Leon.
You had like some actual business that you had to take care of. We just had to drop off. Like, here you go, we're done.
Yeah, I guess maybe so. I think you make excuses for him.
Could be.
He did roll up and go, "Hey, I got the good." And I was like, "All right."
At least he didn't say, "I blow."
Yeah, that's right. Corona be gonna.
Well, just on some fun news, guys. There's a guy that builds adorable mini picnic tables for squirrels in his yard. The coronavirus pandemic has given most of us more time on our hands than we thought we would need. Some people are using it effectively, while others may not be. I consider this guy not. You may be, for instance, taking inspiration from a guy who builds adorable mini picnic tables for the squirrels in his yard. Rick Kalaninsky is more than aware that his furry neighbors were more than willing to eat their snacks wherever they wanted to, but because he loved watching them frolic around his yard, he decided to give them another option. So he got some spare wood from around his house, and he made adorable picnic tables, and he nailed them to the fence so that his squirrels can eat the nuts that he placed on top of them. He posted pictures of his creation on Facebook and now has 279,000 shares and 22,000 likes. In an interview, he said that, "I really believe they love it, and they appreciate me, and I appreciate them." Other people have said that these are pretty clever. I've seen bird feeders that's shaped with the stools in a bar, but the picnic table is the greatest. Because of the popularity, he has decided to sell his creation on Etsy. The squirrels are not the only animals that like it. There are other animals that are using the picnic tables as well. So, what do you guys think? Producer Brian put that in the chat. Little, cute, adorable picnic table the squirrels can eat their little nuts on. What do you think about that?
I think it's called target practice.
Baha! There it is. See, I would buy one, but then I would put a target right around the center of it, and then, I got good target practice. I hate squirrels.
They're pests.
I hate them. They're varmints.
Well, anybody that hasn't listened to our first 20 episodes, I think probably 18 of those had squirrel. Remember our favorite exterminator, Blaine, was a recurring character we talked about.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Blaine. I forgot about him.
Yeah. How do you forget about Blaine?
You kind of want to put him out of your head and your thought process. But
Silly squirrels.
Silly Blaine. Do you guys have any more thoughts on these cute little picnic tables for squirrels?
Actually, it's kind of neat looking. I mean,
yeah,
it's kind of adorable, but I don't want to encourage no squirrels. Those things are road targets, basically.
Yeah.
The 1812 barbecue story started over 20 years ago when Eric and his dad started entering local barbecue competitions for fun. During that time, Eric, a United States Marine, has traveled all over the world picking up flavors and techniques that today is the unique flavor of the award-winning 1812 barbecue. He has honed his craft to bring you fall-off-the-bone pulled pork, mouth-watering ribs, and finely crafted beef brisket. Eric has developed his own amazing dry rub and delicious barbecue sauce. And let's not forget the sides: coleslaw, smoked Gouda mac and cheese, cowboy baked beans, and to top it all off, banana pudding and pecan pie for dessert. Getting hungry yet? Good. Call or email Eric at 1812 Barbecue, and he can make your next catered meal happen. Wedding and graduation parties, family reunions, and other events will be memorable with 1812 Barbecue. Want to try your own hand at smoking meats? Pick up your own 1812 dry rub and start the journey for yourself. Shipping all over the world, connect with Eric on his Facebook page, Instagram at 1812 Barbecue, or call 704-604-5148, or email Eric at eric.line@1812barbecue.com, and he'll be glad to help any way he can.
This next one, guys, I had an article for it, and now when I pull it up, it is no longer there. But the headline was that Richard Simmons is back after being away for quite some time. Richard Simmons started putting out his old YouTube videos to try to get people up and moving with the coronavirus, trying to encourage people. Oh, there you go. Boom. Trying to get to encourage people to exercise and get moving and whatnot during the coronavirus. But he's not actually back. He's just sending out these videos. He is a recluse, and nobody has seen him for like 6 years. Do we need to worry about Richard Simmons?
Maybe we can have Betty White check up on him.
Or do you think he got fed to a lion?
Hey, Carol Baskins.
You said he's 71?
I think Carol Baskins took out Richard Simmons. He's 71.
I cannot imagine what, like, my memory of Richard Simmons is like, well, he's probably pretty old still, but he didn't look old. He never looked old, right?
He never, he still doesn't look old. You know, at least to the last, pictures that we had of him.
So apparently there's also a podcast called Missing Richard Simmons. Are you aware of that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have not listened to it. I've heard about it. It doesn't know, it says that he's still deciding when he's going to return to the spotlight. He may never do it, but he kind of left, and then nobody's ever heard from him. He may be dead, and people are just still collecting royalties. I'm starting to worry about Richard Simmons.
Releasing the videos.
Maybe, yeah. Like, I don't know. Goodness. Producer Brian, do you have any SFP headline previews for us?
I did not. I've actually been trying to figure out when to record that show now that we're doing the COVID-19 thing. Because there's people in my house all the time. Right? And I've carved out a window here for us to record the show. I have no idea. Maybe. Hopefully I can get it back next week. It's been a while.
Okay.
I'd like to keep doing it, but
not a problem.
I'm going to blame the pandemic for now.
Well, sure. You kind of need to.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, this is the time where you can blame everything on the pandemic, except for being able to blame all of the things that you said that if I only had enough time, I would get this done.
Yeah.
I keep saying to myself, if I had enough time, I'll clean up that basement. No, I don't. I keep running out of time still. Magic Man, any thoughts from you? You've been quiet for a while. I see you picking up your adult beverage there.
Any thoughts from me? Well, I just shared a link on Slack as well as Skype.
Okay.
A friend of mine shared it on her Facebook page. It is of a video of a fella who made a, I don't even know what you would call it, but it's basically a picnic table. So this kind of goes along with your story of the squirrel picnic tables. But this is a human-sized picnic table on large tires with a motor on the back and an umbrella, a full-size regular umbrella that you would use at a picnic table. And this thing drives around. So you can go and pick up your friends and have a picnic driving around. And it even does wheelies. So when you get a chance, check out that video. You'll get a kick out of it, I'm sure.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Do you guys be up for that? Maybe when this whole thing is over, we can get one of those and just have a picnic?
I'm all about it. Bring it on.
All right, so let's go into some hot topics. Hey, buddy, we've got some tonight. Brought to you by Hook, Line, and Heroes, 501c3 that allows veterans to get out, get on the water, and develop a relationship with God. So appreciate those guys. Hook, Line, and Heroes, check them out. All right, guys, I think I said this several weeks ago, so I deserve the infamous Prophet Star. The U.S. Intelligence Community has reported. Let me start over on this one. The U.S. intelligence community has reportedly concluded that China intentionally misrepresented its coronavirus numbers. Is anybody shocked by this? Mm-hmm. The U.S. intelligence community has determined that the Chinese government concealed to the extent of the coronavirus outbreak and gave false numbers of cases and death in the country, Bloomberg News reported on Wednesday, citing 1, 2, and 3 U.S. officials. Intelligence officials transmitted a classified report of their findings to the White House last week. Bloomberg described its sources saying that the report's main conclusion was that China lied. 2 officials told the outlet that they found out that China's numbers were fake. China was the center of the novel coronavirus outbreak until last week when the U.S. numbers surpassed that of China's. The World Health Organization declared it a pandemic on March 11th. The U.S. officials have repeatedly accused China of covering it up, but alas, China said, no, we did not. Jin Suing, a Chinese foreign minister, said, we did not. We have been transparent and shared accurate information with the U.S. and other countries. China, you're fudging the numbers.
Well, we knew something was up because, our CDC has partnerships with countries. So we have actually CDC offices in foreign countries where we have our scientists, epidemiologists, doctors, things like that actually go and study possible health trends or whatever in these other countries. Well, China, right after the Wuhan Kung Flu, whatever you want to call it, broke out, China actually removed our CDC office. Now, through the act of politics, you've heard our government mention it, where it was the time elapsed, or basically it was our time out of there. But it's all too coincidental where our CDC officials had to leave China because of that. So I don't. You judging by, if you keep up to date with the numbers, which I do, just because I'm a numbers kind of guy. I think China still only has 80,000 on the books right now, 81,000 total cases. I mean, I don't see how it's possible, especially when also whistleblower doctors would be reprimanded by the local Communist Party delegates or officials and told them they would have to spend time in possible jail for speaking out. But also, there's actually been several doctors that have actually gone missing after they spoke out. So I think it just shows you the huge negligence by China. I think, it's a conspiracy time. I think after this, I think after this time we'll all be playing Monday morning quarterback, and we'll be reevaluating stats, even here in our own country, just to see what was the actual toll. What, besides not just the economic impact, but actually where we, just like people revisited Trump's election 2017-18, like the polling data, I think we'll be revisiting this for years to come.
Yeah. That gives us a great segue to our next article. Trump is about to get probed again. Adam Schiff already is calling for a 9/11 style commission on the coronavirus response. Nunes decries it a stunt. The House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff, who a little over 2 months ago led Democrat prosecution in President Trump's impeachment trial following an extensive investigation, is working to launch a new review concerning the administration's actions, this time calling for a nonpartisan commission on the government's coronavirus response. Schiff, after repeatedly criticizing the president's response to the COVID-19 pandemic, said Wednesday that he would work to create a panel to review the government's actions and readiness. He said, after Pearl Harbor and 9/11, we look at what went wrong to learn from our mistakes. Once we have recovered, we need a nonpartisan commission to review our response and how we can better prepare for the next pandemic. And I'm working on a bill to do that. Schiff swiftly faced criticism for the move, with Intelligence Committee ranking Republican Devin Nunes accusing them of a dumb stunt. His Russian collusion hoax failed, his Ukraine scam failed, and his efforts to cover up a FISA abuse failed. Hard to read, guys. So Schiff is launching yet another dumb stunt to justify his never-ending media relations. Guys, what are y'all's thoughts? Do you think that there needs to be a 9/11 investigation on the coronavirus response? Or do you think that this is just, again, playing politics? Your all's thoughts?
Well, I think this is nothing but 100% politicking. What a great way to raise money for your potential campaign than to go out there and basically just pander to your base that is, number one, Adam Schiff's territory is going to be anti-Trumpers. So no better way to seem like the man of action, the man who's trying to get stuff done, his Spartacus moment. I obviously I think this is. I think we can judge our response without having to spend several $1 million, hundreds of millions of dollars on an investigation. There's enough data out there that we can actually collect him. Here's the thing. Like I said, we're now in week 78 of quarantine. I've lost track of all concept of time, but we can look back at 3 weeks ago. Well, what was our response of 3 weeks ago? It seems like a lifetime we've been in lockdown. You got to remember 6 weeks ago, when this podcast airs, the economy was strong. Everybody was thumping. Everybody was working. Now we're not. But we will be able to go back, look at certain data points, data markers, how quick did FEMA respond? I mean, hell, this whole thing is a golden trove, treasure chest of people who love data in the government. Oh my goodness, this is so. I mean, they just released a map. New York Times had a data map of ranking the states that are actually having the worst response to the stay-at-home order. And South Carolina was actually on top of that list, and it narrowed down that the average person was traveling 3.2 miles a day on a stay-at-home order. Well, how do they collect that data? I mean, it's not like the state of South Carolina gave everybody pedometers and said, all right, we're going to count your steps. I mean, no, they're tracking stuff. They have ways of measuring those algorithms with phones and cell phone. Yeah, cell phone pinpoint. Just a treasure trove of data. You think about it. Just break down the data we have. We have the responses. We have how quickly a pandemic and lockdown can lead to unemployment rates, response times from shippers and suppliers. I mean, there's so much data. Now, from the libertarian perspective, I think it's too much handling by the ones on the far left who love government overreach have to be excited. This is like their Disney. This is like the Super Bowl for big government lovers who want government to fix everything. This is the Super Bowl right now of government intervention. But do we need a 9/11 style commission? I mean, maybe we should look at a 9/11 style commission into wasteful spending by these stupid politicians who come up with stupid committees to investigate things. Maybe we need to have an investigation of the investigators for once.
Yeah, I think history is going to pick this apart on its own, and this isn't the time to do an event. They should be focused on legislation to help us get through the situation and helping rebuild the economy and stop just the witch hunt. And I'm not a Trump guy. I've said that, but this is not the time or place for this kind of stuff to be going on, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and he says in the article that that they're going to wait until the crisis has gone down, and we're not doing that. And then after it's over, then we'll look at it. I do think that we need to look at the response. Did we act accordingly? Obviously, we're in a pandemic. The U.S., and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but we're supposed to be the world's superpower, but yet this thing is beating us worse than China. Again, by the numbers.
Is it?
Is it? And that's a valid question, but as a world superpower, should we have done a whole lot more? So I do think that we can look and say, well, what went wrong? The fact that I can't go to Home Depot and be able to buy an N95 mask, I think that's something to look at. Are we low on ventilators? I think that's something to look at. And what could we have done better? And I think that we always need to look back and say, we went through an event. What can we do to make it better? I mean, I think we can all agree on that. Does it need to be a 9/11 style commission to do that? Probably not, but we can all get a panel together and say, well, what could we have done? So, I think his whole point was, after it's all over, we can, look back and see what we did or didn't do.
Mark my words. If Trump wins in 2020, there will be an investigation right after the inauguration. There will be an investigation by Schiff and Pelosi and whoever else wants to do it. There will be an investigation of this, and it will be ongoing for the next 2 years, all the way to 2022. and it'll be a great marker for a re-election of House and Senate. So it will come, and it will come in, and it will be CNN headlines for 2 years straight. I guarantee you. Of course, there'll probably be another Russian collusion or Chinese collusion, maybe this time. Who knows? But talking about the N95 mask, you know what would solve that, right? Gouging. If we didn't have gouging laws, if we're Lowe's or Home Depot or Walmart's that have the N95, they could actually raise the price to fit the market demand. People ain't going to go out there and spend $100 a case or $100 a box on the N95 mask. I mean, well, maybe you, but you got to stop buying things from the Ninja pillow makers.
You can cut up those Ninja pillows and make some masks. I'm just saying.
If all of a sudden a case of a packet of toilet paper doubled in price in an hour, like gas will, if you have response to war, people would not buy that stuff in bulk like that. So. Speaking of that, our response, I'd love to have Yael back on the podcast, and that maybe next week, and talk about this, because we do have, talking about history, like producer Brian was talking about, we do have current history right now is being made by countries like South Korea and Singapore, and their response to this versus our response, which is a total opposite, and actually how their economies are still thriving and working. And their infection rates are really, really low right now. Granted, they're not testing 7 million people a day like everyone claims that we're doing here, but they've had the opposite response to our response, and they're still trucking along. So,
yeah, let's see if we can get him on the show. Yeah, I think we need to step back and look. What could we have done better? There's going to be an article that I'm going to read here in a little bit that talks about Trump and his fault. But
Hook, Line, and Heroes is a 501c3 nonprofit based in Charlotte, North Carolina, founded in 2017 to show God's love and appreciation for our disabled and PTS military veterans. They provide professionally guided fishing trips to nominated veterans at no cost to the veteran. Hook, Line, and Heroes has provided over 30-plus trips around the Carolinas since their founding, from red fishing down in Charleston to striper fishing on Lake Norman, and even offshore fishing down in Florida. Each trip is a one-on-one experience with a member of the organization, aiming to provide a day of fun and relaxation on the water and begin a lifelong relationship with them. Each veteran leaves the day with a fully stocked tackle box, rod and reel, apparel, a Bible, and a daily devotion to kickstart their new hobby and build their relationship with God. Please take the time to visit their website at hooklineandheroes.org to hear and learn more about them. You can help in many ways by nominating a veteran through their website, join their monthly giving program, Healing Heroes, or send a one-time personal or corporate donation. You'll also be happy to hear that they are completely volunteer-run, and nearly 100% of your donations goes directly towards providing trips for the veterans. Be sure to follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to see their veteran stories and to show your support.
I do want to get into this fine article, speaking about politics. Alyssa Milano. Everybody familiar with old Alyssa Milano?
Never heard of her.
Never? Have you? For real?
No, I've never heard of her.
Who's the Boss?
Kidding.
Did you ever watch that show?
Yeah, I know. Yes, that was a joke.
Okay, that was a joke.
It's funny, see?
Alyssa Milano.
Alyssa Milano is defending her decision to stay silent in the wake of recently surfaced allegations against former Vice President Joe Biden by a former Senate staffer, Tara Reid, who claims he sexually assaulted her in 1993. Milano, 47, spoke with radio host Andy Cohen on Monday during his SiriusXM broadcast when Cohen brought up the fact that once again Milano had been trending on Twitter. He gave the actress the floor to speak on the matter, and she did so by choosing her words gingerly. So it's actually quite serious, she said. I've endorsed Joe Biden, and there have been accusations against Joe about sexual assault, Milano began. I have not publicly said anything about this. The charmed alum famously attended Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh's Senate Judiciary Committee hearing on Capitol Hill in 2018 where Christine Blasey Ford testified that he sexually harassed her in the early 1980s. She said that she'd always been a wait-and-see approach to these sensitive matters, and that the predicament Biden found himself in was no different. I'm just going to stop there. She said, let me repeat that. She said that she has always taken a wait-and-see approach to these sensitive matters, which, guys, that's false. She also explained to Cohen, if you remember, it kind of took me a while to come out publicly against Harvey Weinstein as well, because I believe that that we should believe the women, and that's an important thing to do. And what that statement really means is, like for so long, the go-to has not been to believe them. So really, we had to sort of socially change the mindset to believe women. And this is the key part. But that does not mean at the expense of, not giving men their due process in investigating situations and giving, it's got to be fair in both directions. The social activist said that her support of Biden mostly stems from her long-standing relationship with the presidential hopeful. She's known him for 15 years, and he would, quote, not do such a thing. So it puzzles me that if she's saying that it's got to go both ways and got to be fair, that for Kavanaugh, she came out and was very adamant that he did it even without the trial concluding or the hearing concluding. But then for Biden, she automatically says that he's not guilty because she's known him for 15 years. So I just thought that was just really odd that this person that's on the Me Too, Our Time or Her Time, whatever it is. Our Time is the dating app that my dad uses, so that's not it. You got to believe them. Movement that she's now saying that you got to go be fair in both directions.
Double standard, anyone?
Right. She's been called a hypocrite more ways than one. She's just said that she's trying to stay quiet about it. Guys, what are your all's thoughts on this?
Well, first off, I think Alyssa Milano is still pretty smoking hot for 47. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Can I also say that I really like her cookies?
Good association there.
I get it.
I think let's make no bones about it. The girl is bat crap crazy. Sure. She is 100% nothing but pure self-aggrandizing, self-promotion type thing. She is 100% political. The hypocritical part, Rose McGowan, her co-star on Charmed, and was one of the forefront of the hashtag Me Too, which is also equally crazy, has called her out, as Alyssa Milano, over Biden's endorsement as just basically a hypocrite, and that how she didn't speak out against, or how she does speak out against like Kavanaugh and other people, and believe all women, but when it comes to your politics and believing that, then no, you don't. She doesn't. She just sits back and idly waits, and it's all agenda driven. That pull no punches. I mean, she hates Trump and should rather have a minor underage girl sniffing grandpa on the ballot. That's it.
Yeah, to me, this is just it's a celebrity who gets a little extra publicity because they're famous. What they say doesn't matter any more than what I say at the end of the day. But because of their status and they've been on TV, they get a little more weight in the media.
Yeah, I have to agree with both Mojo and producer Brian. First of all, yeah, Alyssa, she's still fine. Her a new set of steel-belted radials. But, it looks only take you so far,
I've never heard that one.
There you go.
I was going to say nuttier than squirrel
That's right.
But
hey, that too. But
that's a good question.
Yeah, but it just hit me funny all of a sudden. All right. Anyways, but it amazes me the double standard that keeps coming out with these so-called enlightened Hollywood elites. Everybody knows that they are so sheltered. They don't live in the real world. They don't deal with the same stuff that you and I do, and yet, they think that they have all the intelligence and all of the wisdom, and they don't know what it really is. It's crazy.
My question is going to be, can we blame Alyssa Milano? And I think the knee-jerk reaction is absolutely we can. But if you are in the echo chamber of your own people, you start to believe your own hype. So if somebody's telling you you're doing a great job and you believe that, and in your world you're doing a great job, you keep getting and even in Facebook, like, you still seek out people that think like you, that talk like you, that more than likely look like you. We still have that echo chamber of, well, we all are saying the same thing, and we're all mad at the other side for them not thinking the way that we are. But if all of Hollywood is telling her she's doing the right thing, she's kind of doing the same thing that I would even dare to say the Trump kids are doing. That they can't see the own hypocrisy in their own world, their own life. But we put her down, but then the right side does the same thing as well with Trump. So I think that it's easy to throw your stones, and I'm not just saying just in general, it's easy to throw your stones at one group and say that they're crazy, but they're listening to the same group of people over and over as well that think that they're right. And then they, point fingers at the other side, and the other side's saying, well, they're crazy because they're listening to the same folks. So, when is it going to be solved? And I think the key, and I think part of maybe what this coronavirus is kind of doing, is potentially just getting people to stop and think and maybe disconnect from, the news and whatnot, and just kind of live their own life and maybe, hopefully, develop their own worldview and their own perspective. But I agree. I think that she's hypocritical by saying you've got to give everybody a fair shot when she hasn't done that in the past. So that's my 2 cents.
Let's flesh this out for a second as far as the echo chamber. Like, if someone's in an echo chamber, are they the ones to build? Can we blame them? Well, if we run that to the logical end, does that person have the decision at some point to seek outside counsel or outside opinions? That's like blaming the person who's in an abusive relationship for being abused because they couldn't see outside of it.
Yeah, and I agree. But you have that scenario that happens quite frequently. Where
I don't disagree with that, but I'm saying that you pick up a phone and go onto the worldwide interwebs and do a little research for a minute, and it could open your eyes. I'm 43 years old, and I'm still learning. Every day I learn something different. If it's something mechanical, something data point, I've learned more about this damn coronavirus than I have my own heart transplant surgery, just because it's something that you want to learn about. I think you have to champion yourself to want to learn more. And we can call out Trumpkin, lovers all day long, because like I said, I didn't vote for the guy. I can divorce myself from him personally as far as like what do I think about him personally and his take on things. But I can also give him kudos when he does great, and I can also point out the things when he does wrong. And Alyssa Milano is a lot smarter than that. As far as like I'm gonna sit in my echo chamber. Well, at least I give her credit. She may not be that smart. I'm giving her credit that she could actually do some outside research to find out, what's the lay of the land here. How many cases of these Me Too movements or Me Too cases have actually popped up in Hollywood or New York, where these casting couches are political figures. She's smart enough. if somehow she can weasel her way in to sit right behind Brett Kavanaugh during a Supreme Court hearing, as far as, for his confirmation, she's smart enough to pick up a phone and do a little research,
Sure.
or she's smart enough to have outside counsel. I'm not saying you're totally wrong, because people are in echo chambers. That's the reason why you have groups that are hate groups, because they love to feed on the same people that believe what they do, and they thrive on that. That's the reason why we have cliques and groups and things like that. But there are more groups. We're pointing out an individual here, like Kenneth Copeland. He believes, he preaches. I don't know if he believes. I would hope he's a believer, but he preaches, quote unquote, talks about the gospel of the Christ and Father that I believe in and love. But he doesn't represent me. You know what I'm saying? But if someone lumped him into our group, I would be kind of pissed, because he's an individual. He doesn't represent us all. And I think we have to kind of look at this from the 10,000-foot view. Are we singling people out like individuals? Because once you single someone out as an individual, you can actually pull them apart. But are we talking about groups? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
She loves to be in the forefront, so therefore she's put herself up to take fire for it. So, yeah,
I just think that, to reiterate what you're saying, I agree with that. I think that as a society, we've just become lazy in trying to do that research of, I'm going to pick up my phone and I'm going to look at the websites that tell me what I want to see and what I want to hear. I'm not going to allow myself to search the other side and view their opinions, or is their opinions valid? Everybody keeps saying we're right, so we must be right. So therefore, I'm not going to do the research on the other side.
Well, yeah, we'll absolutely fit our
lazy society.
Yeah, we will fit ourselves into our cognitive bias with groups and people and things like that. And also talking about doing your research and behind on the times and being lazy. How about producer Brian finally watching Tiger King? Thing's been released for 7 years, and he finally watches it now.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
He was only a week late, so there's that.
Oh, well, like I said, I've lost all concept of time. I think I'm in this rabbit hole of
I felt like I lost
space-time continuum right now.
Show, so.
Well, I had an appointment today, which I thought today was Tuesday, and had an appointment today, so I totally missed that. So, I've lost all concept of time.
It is insane how, I don't know what day it is. Are you guys feeling that too? You have no, it's hard to figure out what day it is.
I have to think about it, but I still live on my calendar, so the little button shows me.
Right, but when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, what day is it? And I even talked about this with my therapist, is I think the fact that I just, I wear my sweatpants, usually don't take a shower, I don't have to leave the house, and I can't leave the house. So, I see the sun go up and the sun go down, but I don't know what day it is. It gets kind of scary sometimes.
I'm one of the fortunate ones where I get to work from home through all of this. So I pretty much, the only thing that's changed for me is that I work from my living room rather than from my office, but everything else is still the same. So I'm still looking at schedules and calendars for, meetings at work and stuff. So, and of course, my wife, she is having to go into where she works. And, so it's been, every week is our typical countdown. Oh, it's Wednesday, half the week. Tomorrow it'll be, good, it's Friday, one more day, and we got the weekend. We can make it through this last day.
Yeah. I think just trying to juggle the kids and, just not being able to get out and leave and then come back to pick them up. I think just something about that is, for me, it's just okay, there's a day that's gone instead of just staying at the same house. So, anyway. All right, so our last article, and this one's a doozy. Producer Brian, can you play our Trump music?
I'm very proud of myself.
You can't always get what you want.
Incredible. Really amazing. Don't be stupid.
But if you try something, you might find
deal or no deal.
get what you need.
I don't wear a toupee. It's my hair.
All right, this article is from David from Staff from The Atlantic, and he's saying that the coronavirus is Trump's fault. Did you guys get a chance to read the article?
I did not know.
Okay.
I read the first half of it.
Cause...
The first half, and then before it got to the Hillary stuff, basically, I read that part.
Okay. Yeah. So my hot take, and I'll read the paraphrased version of this article and then get your thoughts. And if at any point you guys want me to stop, just say stop, and we'll talk about that at that point. All right. Well, that was a great show, guys. Appreciate it. You guys have a great night. Thank you for tuning in.
Just seeing how powerful I could be there.
All right. So this is the beginning, and again, it's been combed down a little bit or snipped out a little bit, but here we go. He says, "I don't take responsibility at all," said President Donald Trump in the Rose Garden on March 13th. Those words will probably end up as the epitaph of his presidency. That single sentence that sums it all up. The pandemic occurring is not Trump's fault, but the utter unpreparedness of the United States for a pandemic is Trump's fault. The loss of stockpiled respirators to breakage because of the federal government led to maintenance contracts lapse in 2018 is Trump's fault. The failure to store sufficient protective medical gear in the national arsenal is Trump's fault. That's the states that are bidding against each other for equipment, paying many multiples of the pre-crisis price for ventilators is Trump's fault. Air travelers summoned home and forced to stand for hours in dense airport crowds alongside infected people, that was Trump's fault too. 10 weeks of insisting that the coronavirus is harmless, that it would miraculously go away on its own, that was Trump's fault again. The refusal of red state governors to act promptly, the failure to close Florida and Gulf Coast beaches until late March, that fault is more widely shared, but again responsibility rests with Trump. He could have stopped it, and he didn't. The severity of the economic crisis is Trump's fault. Things could have been less bad if he acted faster, instead of sending out his chief economic advisor and his son, Eric, to assure Americans that the first stock market dips were buying opportunities. The fact that so many key government jobs were either empty or filled by mediocrity, that is Trump's fault. The insertion of Trump's arrogant and incompetent son-in-law as commander of the national medical supply chain, that's Trump's fault. For 3 years, Trump has blathered and buffled and bullied his way through an office for which he is not utterly inadequate, but sooner or later every president must face a supreme test, a test that cannot evade by blather and bluff or bullying. That test has overwhelmed Trump. Trump has failed. He is failing and will continue to fail. Americans are paying for his failures. So that's just half of it. What are your thoughts so far? Is there any truth to that? Is there anything that you can agree with?
Obviously, I wish, number one, as Americans and as voters and citizens, I wish we'd get out of the notion of our head that one person knows everything. You know what I'm saying? As soon as they come into office, they have a wealth of knowledge and information that comes hitting them, and all of a sudden, like, yeah, I know.
Well, there's that book from National Treasure.
But that's the book of secrets, like
they
who
should
killed
know
Kennedy.
Better. There's a book.
That's what it's about. But we automatically think that this person, inherits the office from his predecessor, and we know what's lacking there. While you're reading that, I looked up an article that I happened to notice, and it says actually back in 2003, Office Government Accountability Office 2003 actually issued a report after the SARS outbreak saying that our capacity was way under prepared for any major pandemic. And then also in 2005, they also issued the same report. So here we are 17 years later at that initial report was issued. And also, so we've had a Republican president, that was George W., who was in 2003. And we've had a Democrat president for 2 terms after that. So what are we to take from this? Could any of those guys done anything? Were they fully aware of it? Was it left on a shelf at some other administrator in the government to handle? I don't know. I mean, you're either going to be on two sides of this. Once again, this is all political. Either A, Trump's doing a great job, and MAGA or CAGA, or you're on the other side of the fence and he's just a flopping failure. He's just a Cheeto in a suit, and he should have protected everyone. Everyone should get free money, free this, relieve school loans, stay at home, and this thing will be over. There's two sides of that. And then there's people in the middle like me, which I'm going, there's a little too much response. I mean, honestly, if in 2003, if we'd spent $1 trillion on ventilators to make sure that everyone who got sick had a ventilator, would those things be antiquated by now? I mean, would they be sitting in some national stockpile that, we have to pay bukus of billions of dollars a year to maintain and, update, current update? I mean, I don't know. I don't know the complexity of these machines. Obviously, they're a little more complex than an egg timer. I mean, because, Ford and GM are saying they're going to ramp up and start making ventilators, but the first ones aren't going to roll off the assembly line until a month from now. I mean, so
I don't know. I've been using the same CPAP since 2006. So
I don't know. I've been on a ventilator, but I wasn't awake during the time I was on a ventilator, so I couldn't tell you the complexities of it. But I wonder what the innovation and technology of these things actually are, what components are. I mean, but I go back to it. I mean, you have stuff that are mothballed. I mean, think about your equipment. Sometimes, or you think of a motor that hasn't been ran in 16, 17 years, and all of a sudden you try to get fired up. You're going to have inherent problems with that. You're going to, from the tubing, is all the tubing going to dry rot? There's questions there that I don't think we could ever answer from our just a regular old Joe Schmo. But I think to place shoulder the blame squarely on one person is just, I think that's pure negligence. I mean, who in our wildest dreams 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago would have ever thought that we would be at stay-at-home orders in almost every state right now? I mean, and hearing the numbers coming out every day, and the official death toll and this and that. I mean, and I'll also, just to kind of add this before we go, Dr. Birx, who is on the COVID-19 response team, Dr. Birx actually spoke during the press conference. This was yesterday, so this was on April 8th, if my dates are correct, because I've still lost all concept of time. She said that, so I think in this country we've taken a very liberal approach to mortality, and I think the reporting here has been pretty straightforward over the last 5 to 6 weeks. Prior to that, when there wasn't testing in January and February, that's a very unknown situation, or different and unknown situation. There are other countries that if you had a pre-existing condition, let's say the virus caused you to go in ICU, and then you had a heart or kidney problem, and then you're pronounced dead, blah, 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 they would actually list that as a COVID-19 death. And actually, I got confirmation from one of our former guests. His wife is a nurse at one of the local hospitals. Right now, with people passing away, especially our close to Charlotte, if you had any underlying conditions that may have caused that, but you maybe tested positive for COVID, you're actually automatically ruling that a COVID death. Now, they may go back and relook at it in a year from now and reassess it, but I wonder what the true numbers are, So, anyway, going back to the ventilators, I don't think anyone, I mean, would anyone want to be in Trump's shoes right now? Or Pence's shoes? Dr. Birx, Fauci? I mean, who would want to be in their shoes right now having to stop an economy and then restart it. Who would want to be in anyone's shoes during this? I mean, if Joe Biden wins in November, I mean, is he going to have a better response? Is that going to be his new campaign promise? A ventilator for everybody at home? I mean, I don't know. So I think this is short-sighted opinion op-ed piece from this writer that just, he probably put his head right. He sat down probably with his matcha tea and put his hair in a man bun and started writing this article because, he ran out of vegan sausage or something and just had to have a little hissy fit. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
No, and I appreciate that. Speaking about the numbers, I just pulled up the coronavirus, the Cabarrus County coronavirus numbers. Remember last time that we talked, it was, I think, somewhere around the 70 cases and 2 deaths. As I pulled it up today, somebody pulled a Jesus. There's 93 cases and then 1 death. I don't know how that happened.
Well, because
it's Easter.
Well, reason why that 1 death. Do you know about that 1 death, right?
Was it somebody from Virginia passing through?
Yeah, somebody from Virginia was actually passing through and landed up in the nearest hospital, which was our local hospital, and that was ruled. He then unfortunately passed away, and then they ruled that as part of our stats. So I guess they must have officially realigned that Virginia, maybe, I guess. But
we're not taking this death. We're not.
Yeah, no. We can't fluff our stats that way.
You got to pass this one back to Virginia.
Yeah.
So going back to this article real quick, if I can. To me, the president's job when he gets in office is to appoint the right people into those cabinet positions. Mm-hmm. To not just be yes men and yes women and actually look at the stuff coming in, even if the numbers are wrong. China's gonna lie to you, so you should take that into account, right? And they should,
right.
I'm not saying it's all Trump's fault, but some things could have been done better by his subordinates, I feel like, to be a little more prepared or get the right numbers, or if they're just afraid to come tell him what's actually happening and just believe his bravado all the time. That's
right.
I wonder what behind the scenes is actually like, though, that because, when, let's say 4 weeks ago, when Trump was more optimistic about having, just the 15-day window, because you remember that back in the day, a couple weeks ago when they had the 15-day poster that was always hanging up, that feels like a lifetime ago.
Q1.
Sure.
Q1. Is it, I agree. I 100% agree that if a person is smart enough to win an election and lead the country, you have to have the chutzpah and the wherewithal and the intelligence to appoint smart key people and to certain positions. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. We've seen that in past government regimes where people, it's like the favor. I'm bringing up the Secretary of Agriculture from our county because he helped me get elected to my first position. So
exactly.
you put these fluff people in. We've seen that. I mean, that's the history of politics right there. But I wonder how much behind the scenes we don't actually see or even know or want to know, just because, when Trump gets up there and talks about the 15-day window, part of that's just kind of hope, having people not panic. Just imagine if Trump got up 7 weeks ago and said, we're all going to die. You'd hear the purge sirens going off. I mean, it would be mass hysteria. People would, it'd been mass chaos. Talking about having, right now, being fortunate to find a roll of toilet paper is like the Willy Wonka golden ticket right now. But imagine 7 weeks ago, if all of a sudden panic, that the stores would be flooded. We'd have no food. We'd have no supplies.
True.
So that, and Obama did the same thing. He gave us a little bit of hope in certain times of crisis. Speaking of times of crisis, like the H1N1 or the bird flu or things like that, when we had, that was running rampant, and he tampered it down to the point where, it didn't. Now, I don't even remember that too much because it was a kind of a non-issue. I mean, you knew it was happening. You knew people were getting sick. People were dying of it, but it became a non-issue. I'm not trying to give Trump a pass at all, because I think you got to, like I said, you got to wonder on certain things, like how much of stuff that these people inherit. Think how long it takes to get a road widened in a state, like
6 years.
Yeah. So, that's just probably the planning process of getting it done. You know what I'm saying? So if you have a ship going in one direction, which is the country, and you have a different party comes in with different philosophies, and you want to turn that ship around, how long does that actually take? Maybe 6 years? And then by the time you finish your 6 years, you're almost out of office. I mean, it's... I don't know where to blame. I don't know if there's anyone to blame. To be honest with you, but that's just
who ate the bat.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're all. I think number one, I think we're all idiots right now if we believe it actually came from one bat. In Wuhan. I think we're probably all idiots right there. But
yeah.
I don't know. I once again, I think it's just a bloviating piece by some hair bun wearing op-ed writer.
Hey, speaking of the purge siren, did you see a parish in Louisiana use the purge siren as a curfew alert?
Yeah.
They apologized.
That's great. That is
Sheriff
great
said that they
music
wanted something that
yeah.
wasn't a typical siren that people would just ignore. So yeah, they did the purge siren and
nailed it.
Made a big old brouhaha out of it.
Goodness gracious.
I don't know how many of those Nat Geo Discovery Channel preppers right there like, hell yeah, it's our time now, Bo.
Right? Here we go. We've been
get
planning
him
for this our whole lives.
That's right. Raise hell, praise Dell. Let her eat.
I do want to just continue with the article because he does bring up some good points. So the coronavirus emerged in China in late December. The Trump administration received its first formal notification of the outbreak on January 3rd. The first confirmed case in the U.S. was diagnosed mid-January. Financial markets in the U.S. suffered this first crash on February 23rd. The first person known to have succumbed to COVID-19 in the U.S. died on February 29th. There's 100 deaths by March 17th. Again, the numbers of if you died from it or not, that could be skewed. But it wasn't until March 21st that the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services placed its first large-scale order for the N95 masks. So there was several weeks that went by between January 3rd and nothing was really done until March 21st. So there wasn't testing kits because those weren't ordered yet. The U.S. went into an economic collapse. Shortly after that, the unemployment rate reached 13%, and Brandon, you can tell me if it's up or not.
It's up,
but it may peak at 20%. And this article was written a little while ago. So I mean, even those 3 weeks, though, and I think this is where the buffoonery of Trump kind of laid into it, was those 3 weeks just kind of sat around and he hoped that it was going to go away because it was going to get warmer and that this is just the flu. And he utterly, I think, for me, he failed to lead to say that, we're going to get ahead of this thing, and just kind of blew it off as, well, it's just a common cold. And I remember Ben Carson saying the same thing, and I was like, well, he's a doctor. He knows what he's talking about. But there was really a whole lot less than we knew about the coronavirus then. So why do you think, that he handled it in such a way, a laissez-faire way of handling it? Now, I see your point of you don't want to cause mass, chaos. But I think he could have been a little bit more upfront. That time from January 3rd to March 21st, there could have been a lot more done, I think.
Does anyone remember? I don't know if you remember some time a while back, but it was probably like 7 years ago, or maybe it was like actually in January. Like I said, I've lost all concept of time.
Yesterday,
when the World Health Organization released pressers talking about how respiratory masks would not be beneficial in preventing the spread of this. Do you remember that?
You're right. Yeah.
They just now revised that last week to say that actually wearing masks could help prevent this. So this is the World Health Organization. I think where we get into this is, if you want to dive a little deeper, I think we're just getting superficial right here. I think we're just scratching. I think we're, our own CDC didn't have a grasp of this. That's like, I don't know if you've seen the memes of, this is kind of off subject. We've seen the memes of The Walking Dead, like Rick character, where he has a mask on. He has like a list in his hand. Right. He's like TP sanitizer, which had nothing to do with zombies at all in The Walking Dead. But you have this global entity that's funded by most all the countries, stating respiratory masks are not effective. So if that is a guiding light that kind of sets the precedence for all the Centers for Disease Control and their various names in various countries. Why if the WHO is saying that their research current on the ground that masks are ineffective, why would you go ahead and order 100 bajillion masks?
But if you don't know that much about it, then why say, well, it's not that big of a deal? Because we really didn't have like a good handle. I don't even know if we still have a good handle of what the coronavirus is and how it's impacting. So why minimize it instead of trying to make it a little bit more, scary, I guess?
Well, they don't want people freaking out. We're trying to avoid people like looting stores and getting crazy.
America doesn't
do that all the time.
But America doesn't
Weather
do scary.
Channel does it every time the tornado comes.
Yeah, and you see how us idiots, i.e., the American people, run out and grab milk and bread for a tornado. I mean, we don't do scary in this country at all. Like I said, I'm not giving Trump a pass at all. I think that we will never know the full extent of information or data that comes out on this. But things that talking about investigations, Adam Schiff probably should focus his investigation on what did China know, how did they know it, when they knew it. I mean, let's investigate the WHO, the World Health Organization. You have the World Health Organization leader is a former communist party member of Ethiopia who terrorized his country. Now he's the leader of this World Health Organization. He's also been sponsored by China. Let's investigate that. Let's investigate. Maybe they covered up things. I mean, that's a great possibility that not only they hide the data from what's coming out of China, but maybe they actually hid some of the effects of what was really going on. I mean, just think about this. So just the information that we know that, I mean, in December, in January, when the first case was hit here, they were actually telling us that it was not transmittable person to person. That was the first response. It is not transmitted person to person. This is something that came from the animal kingdom, and we got. So this cannot be transmitted person to person. So then we started doing, when it all of a sudden jumped person to person, the first mutation of Wuhan from the wet markets, quote unquote wet markets they claim, it then became transmittable, but it was not airborne. So we were under the impression that it wasn't airborne. So everybody just keeps on going. And then all of a sudden we find out it's airborne. But if you stand 6 feet apart, it's okay. And then now that we've, 3 months later, we're getting issues saying wear a mask because coronavirus can actually live in the air for 3 to 4 hours. So is this static information that's moving on the ground like you would see on the military, like field ops, where you're getting constant movement and data and information being fed back to the troops on the front line? Or is this stuff that is slowly releasing? I don't know. I don't know the answer there. Plus, these companies like 3M is the one that makes these N95 masks. If the government put in an order for 700 million of them, could they produce? I mean, do they have the capacity to, the lines to do that? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the capacity of these companies are, but one thing I know is I don't think they could. I mean, they probably have X amount of workers and X amount of machines that make these masks. I don't think they could tool up to do that. I mean, just like the ventilators. The ventilators are, I mean, he's had to sign the Weapons Authorization Act or Defense Authorization Act, where he's basically force handing certain companies to make ventilators and other products and stuff. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The question just ultimately, like, I think Trump has done a fantastic job getting the economy up and going and you know, boosting the economy. I think he's fantastic at that. I just see where I watch him on TV and I'm so confused at what I'm supposed to be doing. And even just the whole idea of just wearing a mask. You know, you ask him, you know, what are you supposed to do with a mask? Well, you know, the recommendation is to wear the mask. Well, are you going to wear a mask? No, I don't need one. Like, come on, man. You're the leader of the free
he's also
world.
not in public at all, probably.
Yeah, but he said, well, I'm meeting dignitaries. I'm meeting this. It wouldn't be good if I had to wear a mask. If you're meeting people, you need to wear a mask. Like, that would be my thought, right?
They're getting Lysol in the face before they come in, probably.
Probably.
Well, he's. I think the ironic thing is he's being asked questions by reporters who are not wearing masks if he's going to wear a mask. I think that's the kind of the Alyssa Milano hypocritical moment where they're beating him down. Why isn't, you know, the Washington Post and New York Times reporter sitting there with a mask on? I don't know.
Well, and I haven't seen any interviews since he said that, so they could be. I don't know.
Yeah, they're not.
If I
watched one today. They're
White
not.
House security, I'd have everyone like handing out masks when you walk in the door. You know.
Yeah.
We don't have enough.
We can't. Well, I know a website that you can get them at, though.
Tear the sheets off the bed in the Lincoln bedroom and make a mask.
So one of the ending questions, I'm not going to keep going on this, but one of the questions it says is, somebody could have done a better job. It could have been Hillary, Jeb Bush, Mike Pence, really almost anybody else in the United States would have been better suited and prepared to do this job. I just look at Trump's attitude and his demeanor, and I really do think that somebody else could have done a much better job, at least handling this pandemic. I don't know.
Just choose a. I guess flesh this out. Choose a fictional character that you want to put in there. How could they have handled it better?
Absolutely.
Jack
but saying how could they? I mean, my inquiring mind wants to know, in your opinion, how he could have handled it better. I mean, not saying he's handling perfect. I'm just saying that how could he have handled it better?
Sure. Well, and I think part of it goes to what producer Brian was saying, was the fact that you got to surround yourself with people that are competent of what they're doing. Putting your son-in-law in there probably isn't the best option, you know, for that. And Trump is just so egotistical that he's not. I honestly don't think, and he said it. Even Fauci said, you know, you need to stay away. You don't need to touch your face. You don't need to, even at the beginning of this. And what was he doing? Touching his face, being around people. So, I mean, he's not listening to what his advisors are saying, which we know that's pretty point blank for Trump to do. Like, that's his modus operandi. He just kind of does his own thing and screw everybody else. But in a time where I think you need to listen to the experts, I don't know if he's really listening to the experts. And to your case, I don't know what's going into his ear. But I think that somebody that's known for dividing the country isn't bringing people together through this. And I think that somebody probably could have, you know.
I don't think so.
No.
Once again, this is just my opinion. In 2008, we elected Barack Obama, who was supposed to be America's reparation moment, where we are supposed to be forgiven of all our racial sins that our forefathers committed, and this great sense of unity was supposed to come forward in our country. And what happened? It never did. We grew further and further apart. We hopped in our segregated boats due to politics, economy, color, creed, sexual orientation, sexual preference, sexual 83 genders, whatever it was. We started hopping into these different boats, and we divided. I'm not saying Trump, when he was elected, automatically unified us. No, I mean, hell, the last 4 years have been nothing but divide. You're either in two camps, just like always.
Right.
As far as having qualified people, I'm pretty sure, like the people that I've seen on stage and speaking, Dr. Burke, Dr. Fauci, the Surgeon General, these guys are pretty much top-notch experts in their field. I mean, Fauci especially, he was right there on the forefront of the HIV and AIDS epidemic in the 80s. He is a well-respected infectious disease doctor. I mean, does him and Trump differ on opinions? Yeah, but also Trump also has the weight of throwing us into the Great Depression right now, a new Great Depression. So I don't care who the president was. It could have been Obama or, Hillary, whoever. Forcing our economy into the Great Depression is a great weight that's on anybody's shoulders, along with trying to also protect the populace citizenry. As far as like, I think you may have spoke like Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is actually an economic advisor, and part of his inner circle as far as foreign affairs and things like that. I think you meant to say about his son. I think, as far as I know, his son's a very educated guy. It's not like he's, it's not like my dad nominating me, I'm partially stupid, to run, some advisory. I think he's actually a pretty qualified guy, I think, in a lot of economic aspects and things like that. I'm not exactly sure what he's having to do with this, to be honest with you. I just don't, I mean, if we play back and just said, all right, Hillary was here, how would Hillary actually have done a better job of this? I don't know. I mean, we can only guess at that. I don't think.
Yeah, we can't know. That's it. I mean, it's all hypothetical.
Yeah, we can't.
We can just hope. We can hope for or be wishful that somebody could have done better, but that doesn't help our current situation.
Yeah. Well, and it's his son-in-law is the commander-in-chief of the National Medical Supply Chain. But and here's the other thing: like 9/11 hit, right, and then Bush, got up on, at the wall and gave us the big speech, and we felt reassured. Obama had Osama bin Laden killed. We all felt like, hey, we're together in this. We can do it. Has there been a moment in time where we've looked at our president and felt like confident in what he's saying, and two, like it's going to be okay? And I don't think he's been able to reassure us of that.
Well, 9/11. Let's take 9/11. Let's take them individually. 9/11 was a moment where we were attacked by an enemy that we could actually see. Now we couldn't place a flag or a uniform or a badge or anything like that just because that was an enemy that was something we hadn't, basically an enemy that we helped create through our CIA operations in Afghanistan, but an enemy that we had no nationality. But it was an enemy that we could all commonly hate. And, of course, we remember the good things about that as far as the patriotism that sprung up, the American flags, the ribbons around trees, and things like that. That was a unifying moment for everybody, because everybody, didn't matter if you were a Republican or a Democrat or whatever, we all were in this battle together. We felt like we knew someone who got killed that day because we watched it. We can't watch this. When Obama ordered the killing of bin Laden, that was kind of a unifying moment also, because that was that's like killing Darth Vader. That was an enemy of the world, one of the most hated guys in the world. This is something we can't see. We don't have any way to place it. We have, it's just a fictional thing until it hits you. And I don't know, maybe that's just my opinion on how I see things, but we're as a society, we're more visual. If we have something, a picture on a wanted poster, that's something visual that we can all equally hate. But I don't see any Pearl Harbor unifying moments we've had during this, because we just don't have anything to see.
Yeah. We could put up a picture of that little scary coronavirus looking thing. That thing's pretty nasty looking. He scares me.
No doubt. It's kind of cute, though, if you think about
it. Yeah, it's, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this whole thing turns out. It's obviously there's nothing else to do. I might as well just play around.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It was just an interesting article, I thought.
Yeah.
We'll have that in our show notes. And so if you want to read it, you can. I think that we have to, like we said earlier, with Alyssa Milano or Trump or whoever, like just both sides have got to be, judged accordingly, as fair and as Fox News says, as fair, as balanced as we can. But anyway, just my 2 cents. All right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys tuning in once again. Make sure you go to our website at southernfriedphilosophy.com. You can check out our playable links there. Also, go to our Facebook page of Southern Fried Philosophy. Wherever you listen to your podcast, just hit subscribe. Give us a review, a rating. Share your favorite episodes with your friends and family. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and again, thank you guys for tuning in so much. And, man, we need to say this more than ever. Keep looking up.
No matter what the doctor said, Dr. Jesus says difference. Come on. I say, Corona be gonna. Corona be gonna.
Corona be gonna.
Corona be gonna. Corona be gonna.